Chag Sameach. I know the hour is late, so I have the hardest job to make things go quick. So it's not so easy to recap Baruch Hashem all the speeches tonight, and still give you a taste of a little bit of some beauty of the Torah. But I try my best to connect to Rabbi Yisrael's speech and Mr. Gindy's speech, and try to make things come full circle. I have to tweak some things now in the middle of the speech. But B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully we can get the recap of tonight. Again, the main goal tonight was to not let Hannukah pass without getting a taste of what Emunah is, of what the real beauty of the Chag is. A lot of people can light the largest menorah in the country, right? But what does it do? Lighting the candle is nice. Giving presents and eating sufganiyot from here to tomorrow is great, right? And you can spin the dreidel for 3 hours. But what's the essence? What's going on over here? What are we trying to celebrate? So I want to begin with the question. First of all, I want to also thank, like we always do, thank the rabbis, thank the Rabbi Bitachon for opening the shul, thank the ones who need to be thanked, Michael, Harry, Amaris, these boys. They thought of this idea, they planned it, they worked on it for many, many hours and many days, and also his wife, and his future fiance, Hannah. So I want to tell you guys that a lot of things were behind the scenes done here. So we give a special Hazak Baruch to those people. The question of tonight is very simple. There's one question that is so famous. It's so famous that if I sat here for hours and hours and days, there would be no answers. Not enough. And this question was asked by the rabbi named the Bet Yosef. The Bet Yosef asked a very, very famous question. Here's his question. You see, in the days of Hannukah, when the Bnei Yisrael, when they went to Beit HaMikdash, after the Rivanim, the Greeks, they defiled and they ruined it, and they made the tum'ah all over. The Jews found a little jug of oil, pach shemen, that was enough to last one day, and it lasted for 8 days. Big nes, l'malam ha'teva, and we celebrate this for years. The question the Beit Yosef asks is a beautiful question. He says, if you have oil for that one night, and it lasted for 8 days, so the holiday of Hannukah should only be 7 days. It should not be 8 days, because the first day was not a miracle. You had enough oil for the first night, no chidush. It lit for the first night, that's fine. It lit now for the continuous of 8 days, that's already the chidush. That's the nes of Hannukah for 7 days. So the famous question is, why do we celebrate Hannukah for 8 days? It's a beautiful question. And it's not only is it beautiful, but the answers are beautiful. There's almost 1,000 answers documented. There's a sefer called Yimei Shmona. It has 500 answers printed. I think the Chafetz Chaim one time was working on a book. He got to almost about 1,000 answers, and he stopped writing. He said, I can't write anymore, because as I'm writing, more answers are coming in. It's impossible to print. You cannot finish the answers. So I want to work on one answer tonight. It's a beautiful answer. It's one of my favorite answers. It's one of the ones that I live by. And here's the following answer. So before to understand it, I have to give a little bit of a mashal. There was once a boy, he got from his great-great-grandfather, going back, let's say, 300 years, a very special watch. Beautiful watch. He didn't wear it, but he kept it in his house. It had sentimental value. It had a special connection to that watch. That was his yichus. His watch was his connection. That was his lineage. And he would keep it in his house in a certain place. And every day before he went to work, he came home and checked it. And every day he went from work and came home and checked it. They were always making sure that it was there. And one day, unfortunately, a robber came in and ransacked the house to the point where everything was destroyed. Everything was lost. And when the police detectives came in, they said, we found only one little box behind your closet where you keep your shoes, behind the little spot over there. We found the little box. And he was so happy, but he was also very nervous to see if that box was tainted, because in that box, it was the watch. He opens the box, and he sees that the watch was played with. And in fact, the person who robbed the house was deciding if he should take the watch or not. In the end, he said, this is not worth anything to me. He kept it in the box. The whole house was gone. Only problem was that the watch, when the rabbi was touching it and he started playing around with it, he broke it because it was so delicate, it was broken. When they gave him the watch, they said, this is all we found. And the man was so happy. So the detective looked at him and he said, whoa, maybe you forgot the main detail was that your house is robbed. Nothing's left. And he says, I don't care. This was the most important thing that I had in the whole house. This was worth anything that was priceless. You can't even put a price on this. This is valuable 300 years back. This is the whole lineage. I found the watch. They said, yeah, but it's broken. So I don't care. I found the watch. I'll take it to a jeweler. I'll fix it later. I'll keep it in my house as long as I have it. I'm connected to it. So they said, okay, this guy must be a little bit, a little off the medication, but we'll leave him and we'll tell him, we'll do what we can. That's a mashal. It's what happened in the times of Hannukah. In the times of Hannukah, Bnei Yisrael walked into Beit HaMikdash, everything was destroyed, everything was ruined, everything was made defiled, which means it was all tameh, everything was tameh. They found this little pach shemen, little jug of oil, and it only had enough to last one day, and it lasted 8 days. You know why we're celebrating Hanukkah for 8 days? A question, an answer that's so beautiful. The answer is that you're celebrating the fact that you even found the oil. Before you talk about how many days you light, before you talk about if we're lit or not. Oh, this is the second time the Yetzer Hara is doing this. If anyone was here for last class, the same time the Yetzer Hara came and the phone call rang, Baruch Hashem, now there's a the Amber Alert. Baruch Hashem, the Yetzer Hara is strong tonight.
You couldn't get you the first time.
The second time, Baruch Hashem. So what happens is, you gotta love him. What happened was, the miracle we're celebrating is the fact that we found the oil. See, the fact that you found the oil was not a special, it wasn't a guaranteed thing. The Greeks came in, they defiled the whole entire Beit HaMikdash, everything was ruined. There was chazirim in there was everything you can imagine was inside the Beit HaMikdash. There was idols everywhere. And you're going to find a little bit of jug of oil that was sealed with the chotim of the Kohen Gadol. By the way, a little secret, that jug of oil dates back to Yaakov Avinu. We're not going to get into it though, but that date of that oil goes back thousands of years. The fact that oil was still found was a miracle so great that they were just exuberant, just so excited the fact that they found the oil. See, the question is, before we even talk about how many days we light, how we light, right to left, left to right, the machloket, just focus on one fact. The oil was found. And if the oil was found, we have to stop and think about it. Whoa, what does that mean? What does that mean that there was enough oil that it was found? So there's a pasuk in Mishlei that says, Ki ner Hashem nishmat adam. A person is a candle. If a person is a candle, then this whole thing takes a different twist. I'll give you a story. There was a rabbi named Rabbi Yisrael Spira, the Bolshevik Rebbe. He was a giant in every sort. And there's a famous story that he was in Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, and he was in the bunker in his bunk, and they were deciding they're going to light the menorah. Well, however they made it, they smuggled it in, they got a way to make it a makeshift menorah, they had it there, and they were about to light. And the rabbi takes the candle in his hand. You can imagine what he's dealing with. This rabbi saw things that no one can imagine. And he's about to light and he says, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. And then he says, Sha'asa nisim lavoteinu b'milchem hazman hazeh. And he finally gets to the last beracha. It's the first night of Hannukah. He's in the middle of Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. And he's about to say Shechianu. Now the words of Shechianu are a little bit strange. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shechianu v'kiyimanu v'higi'anu lazman hazeh. You're thanking Hashem for raising us and taking care of us and keeping us to the point where we're able to get here today. We're able to get here today. So the question is, one of the men in that bunk comes to the rabbi and he says, Rabbi, you see, when you wanted to light the Hannukah, I didn't bother you. I didn't say anything. You want to light it, you're going to light it. I'm not going to bother you, Rabbi. But you want to say now, Shechianu v'chiyemanu v'kiyemanu? You want to thank you, Hashem, for keeping us now in the concentration camp? People are dying everywhere we look. The mere fact that we're lighting the menorah now is a death threat. How can we ever say, thank you, Hashem, for keeping us alive right now? And the rabbi thought about it for a second. He said, you know what? This guy maybe has a good point. He's thinking maybe he shouldn't make this beracha. Maybe it's beracha levatala. Does a person say Shechianu if it's in the middle of a death camp? And he said, you know what? He turned around. Shechianu means, thank you Hashem for keeping me up. Thank you Hashem for getting me to this point. For keeping me my whole life, for getting me to this point where I am today. Shechianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu, that I got to this point. And if he's going to make a blessing on this point, then he has to think about it. Is this a blessing that he wants to make? And he turns around and he looks and he sees almost 200 people, men, women, and children, all piling on top of each other, standing on the bunks, standing on people, just to see the little lights of the Hannukah. And he says, you know what? That's the answer. I'm going to say Shechianu v'kiyemanu. You know why? Because the fact that we're still interested, the fact that we're still excited about lighting the Hannukah menorah, that is the biggest miracle. That's Shechianu. And he said it with the Simat La'avu. Am Yisrael, we're always connected. We're always attached. We're always there. And that's why the rabbi made that beracha. Because he said, that's the miracle. I'm not lighting because I'm happy where we are. I'm lighting because I'm happy that even though where we are, Am Yisrael still wants to do mitzvot. We are that little jug of oil. Anachnu al pach hashemen. We made it here after years and thousands of trials, tribulations. Everyone tries to kill us. Everyone tries to knock us down. We are that pach sheven that still is around, and that's the miracle we light every single year. I want to end off with one special thing. You see, there's a special event that's called the Olympics. And the Olympics comes every 4 years. It's a very, very interesting case. If you think about it, I don't know if you've ever seen what's called the Olympic torch bearing. The torch bearing is, in a short summary, they take a big flame, big torch. It's lit in Greece, in Athens. They go to Greece, they light it. And this torch is lit, and it gets passed on from person to person, all the way until it gets to the destination of the Olympics that year. So if it's in Brazil, it's going to go from Greece to Brazil. If it's in Lake Placid, it'll go all around the whole world. The only problem is they have to keep this torch lit. So they have special burners, they have special lanterns to keep this torch lit even when they go in the airplane. It has to be a resistance against fire, against wind, against snow, rain. They have to make sure that this flame never goes out. It's Kodesh Kodashim. Right? How could the Olympic torch go out? It can't be. So if they do such a good job of keeping that lit, lahavdil, but we can understand a little bit of what it means to be a Jew. See, we grow up in times when there's wind, there's fire, there's snow, there's rain, there's people trying to look for our demise every single day. And our job is to keep that flame, the Am Yisrael, that little jug of oil, keep it. If you have to take care of it with a glass covering, take care of it. If you have to show it some extra care, with a little bit of chizuk of Emunah and Bitachon, on a Monday night, on December 3rd, you do it. That's all we're doing, is keeping that flame still lit. And Mizat Hashem, we take that flame, and we make the miracle, we celebrate the Nes, and we mivarech, Shechianu v'Yechianu v'Yiganu, Lazman hazeh. Hazak baruch, Baya tov. Thank you so much.